Inclusive teaching, supporting all students in the college classroom. How can I teach challenging, controversial, and sensitive content?
Many instructors who teach challenging or controversial topics in their courses look for strategies for navigating these conversations with their students. What constitutes challenging or controversial can vary not only by discipline, but also by which students are in the course, as well as by the changing political and social landscape within and beyond the university. Other instructors may be wondering how to integrate conversations about tense or difficult events taking place outside the classroom into the classroom space in productive and meaningful ways. It's important to remember that students are grappling with these issues as much as instructors are, and that when instructors strive to treat their students as whole people, they must be ready to help them connect their disciplinary content to the context of their everyday lives.
My advice for instructors who are teaching challenging or controversial content: get yourself and your students ready emotionally and socially to engage these topics. So before the big discussion happens, maybe you want to go back and look at historical through lines. What's the history of this topic? Or what have been the events that have led up to that? Allow students an opportunity to get together in affinity groups where they can actually work through their social, emotional issues before there's a coming together. That enhances the sense of belonging in a classroom when students see that instructors take that type of care in creating a positive atmosphere where debate and dialogue can happen authentically. Even if you do have challenging topics to talk about, if you have really invested in building that sense of belonging, a community of learners, you have structured protocols for discussion, then students will lean into that. So being able to invest in the kind of groundwork that allows students to do that with a sense of safety becomes really important.
So for courses that address sort of challenging and controversial topics, I teach many of those courses, and so some of the strategies I use involve one, naming that these are really difficult, complex issues that can trigger a variety of emotions, and modeling, being prepared to model how I feel about and how I navigate some of those emotions. I am consciously trying to build a community of learners. In my experience, when you're successful in building a community of learners, you have more of a foundation to navigate some of the conflict that can emerge in those situations, particularly around controversial topics. So building a community of learners that establishes trust, that has a sense of group norms and expectations, increases our ability to navigate some of those difficult moments. I'm a big believer of not engaging in pedagogical activities that seek to punish students or reprimand students. So I think about how we can engage in pedagogical interactions that continue to lift up our students, even in the face of challenging and controversial topics. I often start from, I have to meet students where they are and think about how I can help them move from that particular perspective, not move where I want them to go, but move in terms of their own thinking on this particular topic or controversial issue. And so being intentional and committed to that is helpful as well.
When you're teaching controversial or challenging content, I think the first thing you have to do is adjust your definition of what success looks like. So if you go into a very raw and contentious area and feel like your goal for the semester is to do some kind of racial or gender healing and have the students coming out fully empathic with each other, singing "We Shall Overcome" or having a kind of kumbaya moment, that's not going to happen. The most you can hope for, I think as a successful outcome, is that students are willing to stay in the conversation. So for me, adjusting how I'm defining success is a sort of meta paradigmatic shift that I have to do in my own thinking as I enter into teaching contentious material. And one of the things I've realized in moving students into this kind of project is that it needs a lot more scaffolding than I used to think it needed. And so now, instead of going straight to students and saying, what's your thinking on this? I'll start off by saying, what do you think so-and-so's thinking on this? What assumptions are in play? What perspectives are being ignored, and so on? And then move to the students. So I see the contentious material project as something that needs to be sequenced over a period of time, where you move closer and closer to students' own opinions.